want to bring in our Bridget Shanahan. She is joining us live right now in our newsroom, and Bridget is monitoring some of the activities. Bridget, you've been covering some of these protests, and you've talked to some of the principals involved, but so far it looks like nobody's showing up just yet at Red Arrow Park.
No one at the park yet, Vince, but I was just reading on the Coalition for Justice Facebook page. Of course, that's a group that's associated with Dontre Hamilton's family behind many of these protests in the area. They say this is not justice. They are upset about it. They have been using the hashtag America Failed. I've also been looking over this report, and I think what's really interesting here is the amount of witnesses that they talked to. For the first time, we're really getting to see and hear from the people who were there on the ground. That was, not Officer Manny and not, the Starbucks employees, not the officers who responded to this shooting. We're getting to hear from just the average Joe who was down in the area, because again, we're talking about right in downtown Milwaukee where this happened in the middle of the afternoon. 14 shots were fired at Dontre Hamilton. We're getting a timeline of events from when Officer Manny arrived. He first got a phone call that he missed from his sergeant. It went to his voicemail. Two other officers ended up responding to Dontre Hamilton sleeping in Red Arrow Park outside of that Starbucks. So Starbucks employees had called about him. Those officers came, spoke with him, and then left. They were called back after the Starbucks employee says Dontre Hamilton is back outside. Of course, they didn't know his name at the time. And they called those officers back in. Those officers came, talked to those Starbucks employees, says he's not doing anything wrong. If he's sleeping in the park, that was okay. They then left. That's when Officer Manny then showed up and had that altercation with Dontre Hamilton. Again, here's another live look from Red Arrow Park this morning. Earlier today, there were securities put up by MPD as we're waiting to see if and when these protesters do come out. Again, that Coalition for Justice Facebook page calling this not justice, saying earlier this morning that they would be out protesting after this decision was announced. So I imagine it will only be a short time now until we start seeing people coming back to Red Arrow Park to protest once again this decision. Vince?